once again to this Beefcast presentation. Joining me for the first time here on YouTube, mouzCCMaNa. How's it going, buddy?
Oh, dude, it's awesome. We finally get to cast some, like, pro replays. I'm super excited.
Yeah, this is going to be good. This is the first time for us casting these professional replays. So, we're going to be getting used to that. Hope that you guys are all excited to be here, though, because we've got some amazing replays today coming out of WCS Europe. These replays are about 3 weeks old now, and we're starting here in the round of 32 with some pretty crazy good matches, hopefully. Why don't you get us started down here in the bottom left?
Alright, man. Here in the bottom left, we have one of my favorite Protosses. He's just so smart. Like, he just plays the game so much better than everyone else, to be honest. He's the blue Protoss, mouzCCMaNa.
I was doing the, like, GSL zoom in and rotate thing.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. So
That's
good.
intense.
So good. I'm so bad at this, though. Anyway, into the top right-hand corner, spawning cross positions here on Entombed Valley. His opponent, he is EG.DeMusliM.
Yes, he is. One of the few British players who are actually, like, doing really well. I'm kind of confused. They just don't seem to have as many as other countries.
Yeah, I mean, their population really isn't that huge, especially when compared to the United States. And I mean, I guess it's more than Canada, but I mean, really, like, there's like 6 people in Canada, right?
Oh, well, yeah. All right.
Yeah. That's what I've been led to believe. When I was in Canada, I was pretty sure I met like 90% of the population.
Wow. You only met, what is that, like?
Like 5.5 people?
Or improper fraction.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. Yeah, it was like a midget or something.
So you met about a third of someone.
Mm-hmm. Something
anyway,
like that.
We see DeMusliM here's not walling off. That's different.
Yeah, DeMusliM actually going to be building that first racks a little bit further off, and likely going to be expanding behind this, as he does have that 400 minerals right here. So we'll see if he decides to put that orbital command up there on the high ground or the low ground. But with that SCV moving down, it does look like it's going to be on the low ground. Probe spots that SCV moving down there, and a little bit of a miss micro there with the Marine, so the probe's going to get in there and scout everything. Yeah,
he does see no gas. And, like, if he was paying attention, he saw that SCV, so it's pretty obvious it's an expansion if he's been paying complete attention. You know, he himself, he's going for an expansion build here. It's going to be a 1-gate expand. No second gas. He's not, you know, saving a bunch of chrono for gates or anything, so should be just a good macro game.
Definitely. A lot of macro coming out of both these players routinely. But that was a very important scout. Like you said, not seeing gases. So it's unlikely that it's going to be a 1-1-1, and he knows that he's going to be able to safely macro up back at home, and he's going to be moving into position to drop that Nexus in just a moment here, although an SCV going over there, and does drop the engineering bay, though. Thankfully for Mana, he does have that Zealot out nice and early, so this engineering bay is not going to last real long.
Yeah, if he had made that Zealot, this would actually be a really big deal, because Stalkers just take forever to kill eBay. Zealots can do it pretty quickly, and he's pretty much already got it dead. And because he started that Stalker, he's not even waiting with 400 minerals, so no, not really a big deal. Delays his mineral economy by a bit, but, you know, he's still okay.
And the SCV does go down there. Zealot draws first blood in this match. I don't know about that, actually. There was already something lost on the other side. But good enough. I call it first blood anyway, because he was the attacking unit and not a miner.
He was the first blood for Protoss.
There you go. There you go.
I think a Marine killed the scouting probe.
I think you're right there. And so both these players now going up to double gas. And is that a robo? That is a robo. So it's going to be gate expand robo. It's a pretty standard build here coming out of DeMusliM. Going to be able to get that observer across the field very early here and be able to check out what his opponent is doing. Stalker does try to poke up the ramp there, but the bunker was firing on a supply depot, so the Stalker didn't take any damage.
That also does tell him, like, how many Marines were there. It's not really something that's in question at this point. Like, you're always going to have this many Marines if you haven't seen that gas, but if you had seen gas, that would kind of be like an "are you cheesing me with Cloak Banshees" kind of check. But, you know, obviously he saw no gas earlier, so it's no big deal. The 2 extra gateways are on their way now. The robotics is done. He's chrono boosting his first observer a little bit. Maybe that was his second. No, that was his first. Odd. So he just wants to get that scouting in.
Yeah, definitely worth noting here that DeMusliM's being a little bit greedy. Typically after this 1 racks expand, you do see 2 barracks added on. Typically one of them will have a tech lab and the other will have one will have a reactor, and the third one will either have a reactor or a tech lab, depending how many Marauders he wants in. But he's only built 2 barracks off of this, so definitely being a little bit cheeky, saving some money in that respect, and then going immediately 1 engineering bay factory behind this. So he's going to get that tech and those upgrades out a little bit earlier than you would if you had 3 barracks down.
I'd say he was going for some like Marine King +1 medevac timing, but you need 3 barracks to do that.
Definitely.
Like off 2 barracks, you just don't have the units. He has been saving up a lot of units. He's produced them quickly. You know, he did get that 2nd barracks out faster than you would usually start your 3rd. So, yeah, I guess he's got a little bit of you know, surplus very early on, but overall, it's gonna not be enough units for much of a timing here. We do see the starport going down as well as the reactor on the factory, so it's obviously going to be medevacs. And his opponent has gone double ups with a Twilight, wherever that is. I'm not actually sure.
The Twilight's there in the back of the main. Yeah, and with that double forge, DeMusliM now getting that observer into his opponent's base, sitting right on top of his tech structures, knows that he is not in any danger, sees that there's only 2 barracks right now. So he's completely comfortable going into double upgrades and continuing to tech up right now with Mana going all the way up into Templar Archives.
Yeah, I only just realized. I mean, Mana is ahead in workers. He's 46 now to 39. I was kind of looking at the probe set or the worker saturation, and I just noticed that Mana has way more. He's also got, you know, 2 gases saturated in his natural. So not only does he have an advantage in minerals, but you know, in gas as well. I suppose with mules it's probably like even.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Go ahead.
I actually really do like the choice for Archon Storm on this map, just because of, you know, the little ramp to your 3rd from your natural. If you go Colossus and your opponent has some kind of Viking timing, you just die. You can't hold it ever.
Yeah, and is that something that you're thinking that DeMusliM might do? He does have a total of 2 medevacs on the field right now, no 2nd starport being added. But is that a possibility with Vikings coming out here?
No. Now that, you know, there's no Colossi, he's going to scout Templar, he's going to go into Ghosts, and it's going to probably go into a macro game. Yeah, DeMusliM started his 3rd, so definitely going to go on to at least 3rd base versus 3rd base.
And so DeMusliM making his way out across the field with a pretty sizable amount of units right now, but with that new warp-in of Zealots. And there's just a ton of stuff here. Sidestorm's not going to be done for about another 25 seconds. And 1 Stim Marine going to go up there and does see that there is a number of Zealots there. And with a couple of good force fields, he's going to be able to pick off quite a few units here. The Zealots actually getting pretty poor positioning there on the bio and loses a few too many Zealots to pick off that amount of bio units. But both players content to retreat right now. Storm is finished up, and there are 2 Templar with sufficient amounts of energy. If that bio wall pokes back up there once again, this could be pretty deadly for DeMusliM.
Yeah, for sure, especially since charge is almost done as well, and 1-1 is done, so he's up in upgrades. So this engagement cannot go well for DeMusliM unless, you know, there's the worst force fields ever and every single storm misses, which is not going to happen because Mana is really good.
Yeah, DeMusliM right now has actually blocked the 3rd with his factory, but another small engagement over here as the charge is revealed. Another Guardian Shield does go up, and DeMusliM actually trying to do as much damage as he can, but now finally going to be retreating. Actually, he's turning back around once again, wants to continue putting the pressure onto his opponent, making sure that he does not get any kind of an advantage. A scan goes down, revealing the army position and composition there, and with that, DeMusliM will finally retreat. Back at home, his 3rd base already up and starting to get saturated. The Ghost Academy finished, and Ghost production will probably ensue very shortly here.
Yeah, it should, and, you know, I mean, this has been really good by DeMusliM, but it's also been dealt with properly by Mana. He's not balled his entire army, at least not all his Templar, into one group. You know, the hardship there, if you do that, is the Terran can just kind of stim and run over to your other ramp while you're attempting to engage. So with Templar being at each ramp, he can just defend that, and he's taking his 3rd right now. It's a little late, but it's not a huge deal because DeMusliM hasn't had his for a crazy long time or anything. You know, Mana is still in an okay position, a little bit behind though because that was good pressure from DeMusliM.
And DeMusliM stims up a small group of units here, trying to pick off some of these stalkers, but right now, not going to be able to. A big concave here for DeMusliM. Storm's going down on some of these Marines, and there's actually still a gigantic concave for DeMusliM, continuously kiting this ball of Zealots, but look at how many Storms go down. Another couple of Storms, nice on these Bio Ball units right here, but kiting on 3 different fronts right now. All these High Templar being morphed into Archons, but the Zealot Ball is actually completely gone. There's only 3 Zealots left at this point. As those Archons do finish up, that's going to be the main force of this Protoss army, and reinforcements come in here from DeMusliM, and he's able to force back these Archons. Tries to pick off that last Archon. It does go down, but with reinforcements from this proxy pylon over here, continuous amounts of Zealots making their way in, charging, but good kiting from DeMusliM.
Yeah, that Archon did fucking work. He killed 3 medevacs. He went in after storming and doing whatever feedbacks he had done before with his 2 Templar. So he killed those 3 medevacs, he did his storms, and then he went and killed more bio units while the Zealots were tanking for him. That, and when all the bio targeted him, all those Zealots got to connect that entire time they were targeting it. So that Archon was huge, and now having done that damage of those units he had before, the reinforcements of 4 Templar, all the storms, and the Zealots he can warp in at this pylon, DeMusliM's in trouble, man. He could just lose right now.
Definitely. All those 4 storms, like you said, one of those storms might go down right here, and it does make pretty good connection. But storming his own Zealots a little bit, one of the Marauders does fall to a lone Zealot right there, but a scan going down, showing his opponent's army, and DeMusliM's got to be a little bit scared right now.
Yeah, he should be a lot scared, and, you know, just to point out, like, when he was storming near his Zealots, he actually pulled back the 3 Zealots that were in the storm, and got them out of it, like, as soon as they were in. That was just sick. He's also killing all the workers right now at the 3rd. He did lose all his Templar, but that essentially allowed his Zealots and Archons to just go in and own the bio. He's going to kill pretty much every worker here. He's going to lose his army, but you can just warp in more Zealot Archon and hold off infinity bio until they have a bunch of ghosts out, which only 1 in production right now, so that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it is worth noting that personal cloaking is done for the ghosts here, and there's no observers currently with the Protoss army, so the possibility for some clutch EMPs to go down from Cloak Ghosts is certainly there. But right now, DeMusliM falling to a pretty low eco game. If we take a look at workers right now, only at 55 SCVs on 3 base, as opposed to the 73 probes of his opponent.
Yeah, and, you know, Mana's gone into Colossi here. Not only was he attacking and doing good damage, killing lots of workers, killing army, he was teching into the composition he needs for essentially endgame. You don't really need to transition out of this unless they go like Sky Terran, in which case you can just make Blink Stalkers and Templar and win the game. So, you know, Mana's in a really good position. He's also got, I think he's got 3-3 done now.
Oh my god, I accidentally just clicked something that was not correct.
Yeah.
Pause your game. What time are you at? Because I definitely screwed up.
1749.
Okay, I'm gonna catch back up to you in a second. I don't know how that just happened, but I somehow...
Did you have the replay thing up? Like, at the time?
Don't normally.
Oh, that sucks.
I'm at 1751 now.
Okay, so I'll go for 2 seconds and stop.
Okay.
1, 2.
Okay, sorry about that, everyone. I have absolutely no clue how that happened. That's really weird. We're gonna go and start the replay again in 5, 4, 3,
okay.
2, 1. There we go. Okay.
Anyway, like I was saying, Mana's composition here is really nice.
Yeah, Mana's composition, very good. And DeMusliM hasn't caught on to the Colossus tech switch yet. Huge storms going down onto that bio right there, catching the medevacs, catching a ton of the bio, and these medevacs are all relatively low energy. Healing up the rest of these units is going to probably deplete them of any energy that they do have remaining.
Yeah, that's big. There was 7 kills from those 2 storms. That is just massive. 7 kills for pretty much free. It's not like... Yeah, there's energy on those Templar, and you have to make them into an Archon, but Archons on their own are just really good anyway. And now the composition is going to be really, really tough for DeMusliM because there are a lot of Stalkers out. There's, what is this here? There's 12 Stalkers, along with the Templar. So there's only 2 Templar, but each have 2 Storms. They will by the time they fight. And, you know, 2 Colossi that they're protecting are just going to murder everything, as long as there's enough Zealots, which there aren't right now. He needs to build more.
Yeah, he definitely does, and I was just checking out his gate count. Only at 9 right now. Is that a little bit low for 4 bases?
Yes, that is. You should be at like 14 because, you know, he's getting close. Well, he was getting close to max, and generally when you're there, you want to build a lot of gateways so you can, like, you stop at like 190 supplies and build a bunch of gateways so you can not defend drops and then reinforce a lot. I guess he didn't do that, and it's okay right now because he's not maxed, but, you know, it still kind of sucks. And this engagement is actually going really poorly for Mana. His Zealots are stuck behind his Stalkers, and the Storms are nice, but there have been a couple EMPs. He snipes a Templar there, and not really the best. He does save all his, or most of his Stalkers and all his Colossi, though.
Yeah, those very important units do make it out of there. Some of the Templars lost, like you'd mentioned. But very importantly, he keeps his opponent to only 3 bases right there. Almost gets the kill on the orbital. A few SCVs did die repairing that orbital to those storms and making sure to secure his own eco lead, though he did show his Colossus tech there. So WCS very wisely switching into that Viking production 4 at a time right now while continuing Ghost production. But our Mordecai Templar is going to be added to this army.
Yes. If not High Templar, he will have to make Archons. You definitely need those to tank. And I'd like to point out that, what is this? 6 gates were just made, and he's already on 3 robotics. So there are going to be well, let's be honest, there's going to be a shit ton of units really fast.
Okay. And we do see the Gravitic Boosters upgrade going on here. This is the Observer Speed. I always get Observer Speed and Warp Prism Speed confused. And so those observers are going to be zipping around the map, making sure to detect anything that's going out there.
No, that's Warp Prism.
Is it Warp Prism?
Yeah, Gravitic Speed is Warp Prism.
No, it's Gravitic Boosters. This is Observer Speed.
Oh, you're right. Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought it was Gravitic Drive, sorry.
No.
You're right.
See, you're the Protoss player.
Dude, I don't even look at the upgrade names. I just hit the G button and the B button.
There you go. And so a large amount of units over here trying to blink, and they do catch this factory here. That's going to be sniped down, but a couple of nice scans go down, revealing the Colossus numbers right there. 6 Colossus moving in. Enough energy for 6 more Storms right there on those High Templar. This is going to get pretty brutal.
Yeah, actually, looking at WCSM's oh, no, let's talk about that later. All the Zealots charge in. There's 6 Colossi killing everything. And
yeah, this is a beautiful concave here for WCSM, but there is a huge number of Vikings right now, and all of these Colossi are taking a ton of damage. Huge EMPs going down right there, and all of these Colossi are just dying. Marines and Marauders going to be stimming in there, and every single one of these Colossi does fall. WCSM taking a supply lead for the first time in about 20 minutes.
I just want to, like, the reason that happened is no buffer, man. You need those Zealots and you need those Archon to buffer for your big damage units. You can't make an army of only Colossi. If you have 6 Colossi, they do lots of damage if they can live long enough. And, you know, when you have, like, 10 Zealots and no Archons, they don't live long enough. It's balanced. You can't just go all damage. You need some tank.
Yeah, and during that, there was a warp-in of some Zealots into the mineral line over here at WCSM's 4th, cleaning up about 6 more SCVs. But if we take a look at the eco situation right now, 55 SCVs to 81 probes, 5 base versus 4 base, and WCSM just falling a little bit behind in that economic situation. We see that Mana has been able to replenish his supply a lot faster than his opponent, but the number of Colossi greatly diminished.
Yeah, Mana's kind of at that point where he can just, like, lose an entire army, even cost inefficiently, and just make it again before the Terran can. Because he's got so much, you know, such a better production and economy, he can just keep making. And actually, once these 3 Colossi are done, he's going to be back up to 6, which is just a ridiculous number.
Yeah.
These Blinkstalkers almost loses one. Excuse me. Blind just to save it. No, then he loses one. Oh well.
Yeah, definitely going to lose at least one there. And it's worth noting, though, that WCSM in that last engagement did a very good job of keeping his ghosts alive. Ghost count still at 14 right now. A lot of those ghosts at very high energy. It looks like about 5 of them full energy and about 5 more above 125 energy. So there's going to be a ton of EMPs going down in this next engagement. Right now we do have Mana already pre-splitting his army. Does not want to have a poor concave here, but all those ghosts out in front do land a couple of decent EMPs. Cloaking does go up here, but more EMPs going to be going down. A nice storm onto a lot of these Vikings right here, taking a ton of damage, but the Colossi are taking huge amounts of damage right now, and the Marauder Ball just stimming right through here. But look at all those Zealots, about 18 Zealots warped in right here, and there's no Marines in this composition to be able to deal with that number of Zealots.
Yeah, before that engagement where WCSM kind of crushed an army of Mana, I was going to say, like, WCSM's composition is a little bit off. He's got a lot of Ghosts and he's got a lot of Vikings, and then he had like 27 Marauders and 25 Marines. That's too many Marauders. Anyway, we see, is he going to go right now? Yes. All these Zealots are going to charge in, and they should do well versus this composition. The EMPs hurt. Oh wow, yeah, he's got a lot.
Yeah,
Just like
that was a ton of EMPs, and those ghosts do pretty good damage against these zealots as well. We saw a lot of probes lost there in that transfer to the 5th base, and right now it looks like DeMuslim just continuing to push with this attack. Although one Colossus and the storms are going to do a lot of damage. Huge storms onto these Vikings. Every one of the Vikings except for one falling right here, and Mana looks like he's going to be able to press this back with beautiful storms.
Yeah, dude, those storms are incredible. He killed every Viking and most of the medevacs with 2 storms. That's absurd. You never want that to happen as a Terran, because that's your momentum unit. You don't, like, have Colossi for Protoss. When you have 1, it's not a big deal. 2, it's a little worse, but not that huge. 3, oh my god, everything dies. It's the same thing with medevacs. You have 2 medevacs, they're pretty much useless, but you have 8 medevacs, your shit just doesn't die. So losing that many plus Vikings, and he does have double starport now, but he's only producing 3 at a time. So that's a huge deal, as well as losing all those ghosts.
Definitely. And we do see right now that DeMuslim is going to be loading up a medevac over here on the right side of the map. Going to be going for, I believe, the first drop in this game. That's something that we have not seen out of DeMuslim at this point. Going to be aiming to try to do a little bit of damage to his opponent's 6th base. But Photon Cannon's already going to be coming up at this point, and Mana might be prepared for this. But I think this drop is actually going to do a decent amount of damage.
Yeah, sorry, I was just oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, it definitely could. It's got 3 Marauders in it, which is kind of weird. Generally, what's up? 1 second.
Sure, we do see that there.
Yeah, anyway, usually you want more Marines in your drop, just because they do more damage to stuff like probes and zealots, so you can live longer, but, Marauders are pretty good too.
Yeah, and those Marauders are going to be cleaned up here by a little bit of a warp in from Mana. The probes that did die cleaned up enough supply for Mana to be able to warp in, and he picks that drop buff and is going to be dropping it over at the 5th base. But right now, Mana pressing into the 4th base of DeMuslim. This is not a planetary fortress. Colossi taking huge swipes at the SCVs, and more beautiful storms going to be coming down, and DeMuslim dropping below 100 supply, forced to GG. Mana takes game 1 in this series.
Yeah, there was some 6 storms in that last engagement, and coupled with the fact that this is not a planetary, just made it not defendable for DeMuslim, so definitely a big win for Mana.
Whew, that was an intense game. That was a beautiful macro game. Lots of huge engagements there, and Mana just having the superior composition throughout most of that game there, using his superior economy to be able to replenish his forces much more effectively than his opponent. Leads him to victory in game 1 here.
Yeah, apparently if you have a shit ton of money and, like, what is this? This is 14 gateways along with 3 robo. You kind of make stuff fast. Who knew? Yep.
Something like that. All right. Well, we're going to move on to game 2. I've been your casting host, Beef. Thank you for watching. If you're watching this on my stream, make sure to subscribe, mouzCCMaNa, if you want to give out your YouTube info as well.
Yeah, definitely. If you want to check this out from a different perspective, well, I guess it's actually just going to be yours, but you can check it out at youtube.com/mouzCCMaNTV. It's MUATARAN TV.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for watching. Stick back here at twitch.tv/beefpotpie1 or youtube.com/beefpotpie1 as well. We're moving on to game 2. We'll catch you there.
Sorry, guys.